and welcome to another episode of Young Adult Matters. Today we will be talking about missionary trips and missionary work. Today we have with us Stephanie Suarez, Monica Benitez, and Miguel Santos. And I'm Ruby Fuentes. So kind of just to get the conversation going, what is missionary work, or what type of missionary work is being done?
Well, missionary work is basically people who an individual or a group of people go and kind of for a Christian-based service. I mean, if I would go and want to go to Mexico for an example, we went with Campus Ministry one time, and we went to an orphanage, and we went not necessarily to take these clothes to the orphanage, but to pray with them and kind of a Christian value all the way around. So it can be either religious people, we can go in groups, an individual. So
I think it also speaks to our mission as a church, which is we are an evangelistic church, and we are a missionary church. So that is our calling. So I think we can do missionary work in our everyday lives, and we can do something local like a service opportunity or lending a helping hand to others. And then there's like more long-term missionary experiences, if you will, where you travel somewhere and spend some, usually a semester or a year or two as a missionary, doing something that is typically at a foreign country. I don't know if any of you have participated in one or the other, either like a local service opportunity, or I know in the case of Monica, she's going to share with us also part of her experience, because she was kind of formally doing missionary work somewhere else, right? In a foreign country?
yeah, well, could have been. I did the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, and what it is a Jesuit-run organization, and we're in the United States and international. And I did the one-year commitment, and I was stationed in South Dakota on Rosebud Reservation in St. Francis, South Dakota. It's really long, but yeah, I was on a reservation. I was taken out of my comfort zone. A lot of the placements that JVC has, Jesuit Volunteer Corps.
That's the name of the organization?
Yes, the name of the organization. There's a lot of Hispanics and African American cultures, but not many Native American. And this was like the first year that JVC did this, and I raised my hand because the placement was religious-based. I was working with religious education. I was going to the Juvenile Detention Center doing like a youth group with them, which was very interesting. And the culture itself was Lakota Sioux. And that
what?
Lakota Sioux. So that was a tribe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
cool.
so... Yeah.
Lakota Sioux is the name of
Sioux. That was a tribe on Rosewood Reservation. So that was very interesting. But
Well, did you have any training prior to going on this trip?
I think it was more of my experience, because the actual application process was really lengthy. But according to my interests and what I've experienced before with working in the church, during retreats, everything, all the servers and youth group, kind of prepared me for the position itself. So according to your certain interests, that's what your placement would be in the Jesuit Volunteer Corps.
And like Ruby was mentioning, they kind of just threw you out there, or did you have an orientation or spend a week in preparation?
Like classes you had to go through to prepare yourself for this?
Yeah, we had a orientation, and it was an intense 5-day orientation in the middle of nowhere in Texas, in Houston, outside of Houston. Being part of JVC, we lived 4 basic values. We lived in community, so it was from 4 to 8 other people. I lived with 3 other Jesuit volunteers.
So once again, what is JVC?
The Jesuit Volunteer Corps.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And can anyone be a part of this, of JVC?
JVC? You would just have to get your bachelor's degree and or applicable work experience. So you would have to graduate, and then you go through the application process, essays, references, and just a motivation of wanting to serve
And before I rudely interrupted, you were mentioning the 4 values.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
And you should have reminded me. So we lived in community.
Uh-huh.
Trying to think, lived in community. We, not necessarily abided, but we lived out the nation's spirituality. So it's the side of Jesus.
What is that?
It's basically serving others and making things in action, social justice. And Ignatius always says, go and set the world on fire. So whatever passions you have, just go and do this. Mm-hmm. And we would pray together, spirituality, social justice. So we lived a lot of the different job placements. We all did different things. Some of us worked in homeless shelters. Some of us worked in soup kitchens, law businesses, medical places. So it was a wide variety of jobs you can get within social justice. And simple living. We lived, simple living is the last one. We lived off of $100 stipend a month. So that was our spending money.
Wow, $100.
And a truly humbling experience.
Oh, yes, it definitely was.
Wow.
Can we see if Stephanie remembers the 4 values? Help her out.
Was it community?
Community,
Spirituality?
social justice,
Spirituality.
and I need one more.
I can't.
Spirituality,
Spirituality, community, social
justice, and then
Simple living.
Simple living.
Yeah.
humility.
Yeah. And I know Stephanie, kind of talking about what our strengths were. Like a lot of my strengths were religious education, like CCD, retreats. She's an amazing singer. Like, I'm just saying, I mean, what have you done? Have you gone to any places and kind of helped? And
I know that I was 11 years old when my family, we're from a small town, part of the Municipio de los Ramones in Nuevo León, and we had the opportunity of adopting a family from one of the ranchitos there, and just seeing their reaction when we gave the little boy his first bicycle. It was very humbling, and because a lot of the times we take so many things for granted, and just seeing the little boy's reaction. And this family lived in a school in this ranchito with no doors, no windows, so they had to like go through a lot of cold fronts and stuff without anything to keep them warm. So we got the big San Marcos blankets, and we gave them several of them. We gave them clothing, some used that we took for granted and didn't use ourselves, and some that was bought just to keep in mind the true meaning of Christmas, and just to humble ourselves and to learn a lesson from that, because we were growing up and my mom did not want us to grow up being those dingy kind of girls. So she said, you know what, I'm just going to teach you guys a lesson this Christmas. And that's truly impacted my life, and along with my sisters and my little brothers, it's brought us up to be humble and to help those in need. So it was
and to realize how much we have that we take for granted sometimes, like just a warm blanket, you know.
And that's something you see in missionary trips as well. Like the reservation that I went to, there was so much poverty, there was so much addiction. It was a very secluded reservation. Like there wasn't a Walmart. The nearest grocery store was 30, 45 minutes away. I mean, the nearest stoplight was maybe like an hour away. So actual stoplight. We had stop signs. So in living in that year, I was there for a year. You realize what you do have. Yeah. I mean, it even out of the whole, I guess, simple living aspect of it, I had $100. Okay, do I really need to go to McDonald's? Like, do I really need to buy that shirt? Like, do I really need? It's more of a need and a want. And I think even things like that, you realize, what do I really want and what need? Like, there's so much of a difference. And some people are blinded by it. They think two are like interchangeable. But what you really need is something. You need food on the table. You need this, but what you want is that T-shirt or jeans, and you don't really have a need for.
Yeah, because we live in a very materialistic culture, and we really do tend to take things for granted, whether it is clothing or food or even our homes sometimes. I know I went on a retreat, and it helped me out so much, but it was very cold. And one thing, even the water was cold when we would take showers. So one thing that I really appreciated when I got home was my warm bed and hot water. So that was just amazing to take a a nice shower, you know. And I could take a while, you know, like a time, because sometimes they time you when you're on retreats.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to share with like 5 other people.
Yeah.
In a room, yeah.
Oh no, there was like 20 other girls, so it was
Oh, wow.
a lot of
Yeah.
it was very quick.
How long do they give you to shower?
Well, I think they gave us about 5 or 7 minutes to shower. So,
What happens if you're not done?
they start knocking on the doors until you get out.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that was kind of something that I really took for granted, and most people tend to also. I mean,
Definitely.
so yeah. But when it comes to the missionary work that you did or that you have done, how did you find out about it? How can other people find out about missionary work?
Well, the specific one that I did, the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, I'd known Jesuits growing up. They would come to my parish, and as part of their missionary work, was come to my parish. It was primarily Hispanic, so they wanted to immerse themselves in the Hispanic culture. Majority of them were from Louisiana, the South, a little bit from the Midwest. So they wanted to get to know us and kind of see how to work with the Hispanics, and it was kind of like a little spark. Like they would kind of tell me like. Oh, you should do this and you should do that, and oh, thank you for your work. And as much as they were helping us, we were helping them, you know. And once I started getting older and realizing the type of things they would actually do and how much difference it made in my life, I wanted to return the favor. And in college, I had a sit-down talk with one of them and saying that I wanted to go out. I wanted to do things. We have, even working for the church, we have so much passion in our hearts to serve. And most of us serve in our own in our own cities and parishes, but I wanted to go and do something, you know, like somewhere outside my comfort zone, to challenge me in all sorts of ways, like living with other people I had no clue about, from Chicago, like total different personalities, mindsets, and it's who you know and who inspired you, and in my case it was the Jesuits. And there's a really neat website, actually. It's a CatholicVolunteerNetwork.org or .com or something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's basically a giant resource. I mean, you can kind of fill out the search engine and kind of put, oh, do I want to stay in the States? Do I want to go international? How old am I? Do I want to go in a group? So it's pretty neat to have different options that we didn't even know there was.
Wow. So if somebody is going to Google it, they can just put Catholic Volunteer Network, and from there it takes them to different missionary opportunities.
Yeah, that's the entire site. So you can fill out a search field, and you have all these questions or little fields that you can fill out. Like if you want to be in with other people, you want to go in with religious religious sisters or certain religious communities, you can do that, and they can even give you scholarship opportunities and things like that. So. There's a lot of, especially variety of certain things you can do. So.
I have a question for Monica. In the town where didn't even have a stoplight, was it hard to spend your $100?
Actually, it wasn't for me that much, because of how what's widespread is, but what the culture itself was. It was, in a way, it was a little depressing seeing the culture being have so many struggles, but the fact that we didn't have a lot of things in our reach that, for example, a community in New Orleans would. Like, they're surrounded by a city, they're constantly, things are on the go, so we didn't spend that much of our stipend. I mean, we did kind of spoil ourselves with Pizza Hut, because that was the only Pizza Hut in Subway, but...
Okay, well, there you have it. Missionary work is a very humbling experience, and it's very easy to get a hold of if you look at it online. So we're going to get deeper into missionary work and its purposes right after the break, so stay tuned.